It's time to sit back, relax, and listen to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life will inspire, motivate, and empower you. Live your best life now. Listen, learn, think, and decide. Change your attitude, change your life. And now, here's your host, Joan Herman.
Welcome to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. You're listening to us in your neighborhood, from coast to coast, and around the world. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Joan Herman, author, speaker, and your host. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life brings you interviews with some of the most inspirational and influential people in the world. It's our goal to educate and empower you so you can live your best life now. Thank you for taking time for yourself, and thank you for letting us be a part of your life. We have another great show for you today. Joining me is Dr. Barbara Angelis, one of the most influential personal and spiritual transformation teachers of our time. Dr. Angelis is a New York Times best-selling author, speaker, and media personality. She has starred in her own television shows on CNN, CBS, and PBS, and has been a frequent guest on Oprah, The Today Show, and Good Morning America. Welcome, Dr. Angelis. Thank you so much for joining me today.
It is my honor to join you and to be in the great wave of wonderful transformation you're helping so many people make.
Well, thank you for that. And thank you again for being here. It is such a pleasure to have you with me because you have helped millions of people transform their lives. And you, better than anyone else, knows that there are so many people out there searching for answers. They want to change where they are in life. They're not happy or content. There's very little joy in their daily life, and yet they search. What are some of the biggest mistakes you see people making on the path to personal growth?
Well, it's a great question to begin with. And I think one of the things I wanted to add to what you said in your introduction was it's not just people who are unhappy that are in a process of being seekers right now. It's people who have attained a lot of the things that they think they wanted. They've gotten the relationship, or they've gotten the job, or whatever it is, and yet they're feeling a restlessness. It's as if something's missing. I should be feeling completely happy with what's happening right now. What's missing? And for me, I call that the divine discomfort. The divine discomfort, something inside of us that creates a longing for growth, a longing for answers, a longing for wisdom. I say that the real beginning of our transformation is when we begin to ask questions like, what am I doing here? Who am I? What am I supposed to be doing? Is there something that's getting in my way? As opposed to, why is this happening to me? Why is somebody being so mean to me? And when we shift into those questions, we're really shifting into being a seeker. And I call that the moment when our cosmic alarm clock goes off. Really, everybody listening to your wonderful program right now has had their cosmic alarm clock go off. What does that mean? It means that they're waking up in this life to realizing there is something more, that they're here for a reason. They want to understand their purpose. Most people never in this life will ever wake up. They think life is just about getting something, doing something. And all of us know somebody who we wish would listen to this program, or we wish would buy a book like Soul Shift, but they won't. And if you're even having the questions, if you're even feeling like something's missing, or you should be searching, that right there is a shift. And it's a sign that something's already happened. You asked about the mistakes people make. And to me, the absolute biggest mistake is thinking that the more in control we get, the more we try to manage everything in our life, the happier we'll be. We'll feel more powerful. We think, I'm going to push down this thought. I'm going to push through this feeling. I'm going to cover up my anger with affirmations. The problem with that is that we're constantly in management, and we're not coming from a place of mastery. And the minute we finish controlling one thing, we have to control another and another and another. Control isn't the way for us to find happiness. It's also exhausting. A lot of people don't realize they have actual chronic fatigue from having to feel in control all the time. So all shifts have to happen on the inside. And from the inside, everything on the outside shifts. It's a lot more efficient. And it's not about just thinking more positively. It's not about trying to be the person on the outside you want. It's going inside, figuring out what it is that's out of balance, shifting really vibrationally. And then everything on the outside shifts.
So, Barbara, just about everything that you just said resonated with me, as I'm sure it has with many other people listening. So, when you're having that awakening, and I can tell you I had one, and it changes everything about your life. And when you're one of those people who is in control, or I should say wants to be in control, what do we do? I mean, it shakes up everything. So how does someone move through this?
I was just talking about this yesterday because, and there's a line in Soul Shifts, and it says one of the first signs of real transformation is shock. It's a shocking. Isn't it a great line?
Oh, that's an understatement.
And one of the things that I'm known for is to really help articulate the actual technology of transformation, what happens. And the truth is, when we start seeing things we haven't seen, understanding things we haven't understood, making connections we haven't made, seeing our patterns, understanding what's been blocking us, the first reaction we're going to have is not jubilation and celebration. It's going to be shock. It's going to be despair. It's going to be what have I been doing? How could I have been asleep for so long? No wonder that relationship didn't work. No wonder I sabotaged this. No wonder people say this about me. That moment is a crucial moment for everybody who's growing. And what I found over the years is people will very sincerely, they'll start reading some books, or they'll take a seminar, or they'll go to a yoga class, or whatever their entry point is into a path of growth. And at a certain point, there's enough light. Imagine being in a dark house and you start turning on lights and having candles and flashlights. There's enough light for them to start seeing the things they haven't seen. And we turn on the lights and we look around and we say, oh my God. That moment is not talked about very much. And it's not just a moment, like a 5-minute moment, as you know. It's a process. That moment of waking up is so crucial, because if we don't understand what's happening, we can think something's wrong with us. We can think we're not doing something correctly. We can think that we're making mistakes, as opposed to understanding that we're actually in an awakening. On the back of the book jacket, I put one of my own quotes, and it says, waking up is for the brave. Becoming a seer is not for the faint of heart. It's for the visionaries, the awakeners, the soul shifters. It's for you. And then it goes on and says, there's nothing missing inside of you. We suffer because we've forgotten who we are. All awakening is remembrance. You're not trying to change into something or someone you're not, or searching for something you've never had. You're retrieving something you forgot you lost and remembering that you had it all along. I'm quoting myself because it really, it sums it up. And so one of the first things I can say, and I can say to everybody who's listening, is if you have been feeling two things at once, you're seeing things, you're understanding things, you're sincerely growing and asking the high questions about life, and you're also feeling uncomfortable, you're not doing anything wrong. As a matter of fact, you're doing something right. The more you understand some of these soul shifts, you'll be able to move through that more quickly, and actually not then shut the whole process down and say, you know what, I was much better off when I didn't know anything, didn't see anything, didn't read anything. And this is really what a lot of people experience.
Barbara, as you said before, you've had 40 years of experience working in this field, doing this type of work. What are some of the most significant lessons that you've learned from your work that you would like to share?
For me, I think one of the most important things that I've learned, and it relates to what we just said, is that real transformation is messy. It's messy. It's not taking a helicopter from one realm of consciousness to another and you arrive in bliss and you're sitting in a beautiful golden temple and you're happy. It's a messy process. It's a process of rebirth over and over again. And it's not a one-time deal either. One of the things that I've learned going through many, many rebirths is when we get to a new plateau, we're going to see the next plateau. We can't see it if we're down in the valley. It would be like driving down the street and you want to get to the end of the street, but when you turn the corner, you can see there's a whole other street there. This is the way that we grow in layers, in a sense. And many people now might be listening and saying, God, this makes sense, because I thought when I was, 35, I went through something for a few years and I came out of it and I felt really good and really stable, and I started my business at that point or got married at that point, and I thought, okay, I did that. And then another wave of awakening starts to happen. Again, when that happens, people can feel, what am I doing wrong? I thought I, quote, handled that. And it's not understanding that we're always going to be going through lessons. There's a beautiful Native American proverb about how an eagle flies. When you see an eagle or a hawk rise, they don't fly up like an airplane, do they? Like take off and go shoot, like Superman up into the sky. They circle. And when they circle, then they rise up higher in the sky and they circle around the same territory, but from a higher vantage point. This is how all of us grow. We look at ourselves and our life and we raise up, we see something, but then we're going to, 6 months, a year, we're going to see it all from a higher place. And I believe all of us have what I call a cosmic curriculum, the same lessons. Each of us has 4 or 5, 6 lessons. It could be, imagine you're in school and you've signed up, quote, for courses. It could be advanced betrayal. It could be Loss 101, whatever it is. And each of us, I actually work with people. We really know what those courses are. And they're the same ones over and over again. And this is something else I want to offer people in our short time. If you feel like you keep going through some of the same things and you're growing, it doesn't mean you're in summer school. Those are your curriculums and will be your whole life. But each time you bring more consciousness to it, you bring more compassion to it, you bring more wisdom to it, and you bring more mastery to it. These, the kind of things we're talking about right now, and your questions are so beautiful, are what I'm calling soul shifts in understanding, seeing things from a different vantage point. And you can see, for instance, that's what we just said, how somebody could be going, I'm having the worst year. I thought everything was calm for a few years, and now I'm going through this. If they think that's what's happening, they'll be mad at themselves. They'll go into judgment. If they understand that they're having the next version of one of their courses, that they, how are they going to be dealing with it? What can they bring to it? What are they supposed to be learning from it? They'll have a whole different experience of it. They won't have, what I call the inner battles and collisions where we're fighting with ourselves, and they'll be able to move through it much more quickly. And as opposed to controlling it, learn to ride the waves of it. One of the simple soul shift questions I have people ask themselves that can shift them in a minute if they're going through stress, if they're upset, if they're mad at somebody, they're feeling depressed one day, they're not sure what to do about something, to just ask, what's the highest choice I can make in this moment? What's the highest choice? Not what should I do? What's the highest choice? The minute you say highest, what happens, that highest in us gets activated because, as you know, we all have our highest self, right? And we all have the opposite of that. And then we have lots of things in the middle. How come sometimes we're in our highest? And, we're feeling enlightened and loving, and then we drift or crash from it. What's the difference? How does that happen? How can we stop that sliding down into our most, frightened self or disempowered self before it gets to the extreme? How do we shift out of it in a few minutes? Really shift out of it. That you don't have to wait for something to happen to really shift. You can create the inner environment to have shift after shift, awakening after awakening, so that you can go much faster in the process of growth.
Barbara, very quickly before we run out of time, because I think this is a very important area that I want to cover. We're talking about rebirthing and making a shift and moving forward. And it's almost like sometimes it's our left side is going in that direction, but our right side is stuck in the past. And as long as we keep part of ourselves in the past, we're never really able to move forward and make those shifts, are we?
Well, the past really is about our programming. Everything really is about how the brain is programmed. And what you're describing, I call being vibrationally wobbly, where part of us is, vibrating at our highest, another part has a lot of patterns. It would be like we're singing two different songs at once. And so being able to create inner wholeness, or what I call vibrational credibility, is so important. Otherwise, we have an inner battle all the time between our highest self and our fear, and they're constantly wrestling, and it's exhausting. And the final thing I just want to say is to understand what their soul accomplishments are, as opposed to saying, I'm going to define myself by how much money did I make today, how many sales did I make, did I do my to-do list. Every day we have soul accomplishments, things that are going to be there permanently, that shift us, that we'll take with us forever, wherever we believe we go. And when we define ourselves each day by our soul accomplishments rather than our goals, we will be able to have much more joy, much more happiness. Everyone listening has soul accomplishments every day, having compassion for themselves, not drifting into a bad habit, reaching out when somebody needed something. These are the things that really define the magnificence of our soul. Shifting into valuing ourselves for those can instantly shift us in feeling great about ourselves every day in spite of anything happening on the outside.
The book is Soul Shifts, Transformative Wisdom for Creating a Life of Authentic Awakening, Emotional Freedom, and Practical Spirituality. If you'd like to get more information about Barbara DeAngelis, you can visit her website, barbaradeangelis.com. Barbara, I wish I had more time. I can't believe we're out of time. I would love for you to come back.
I feel the same way anytime. I love talking to you. I honor you for the great work you're doing.
We'll be right back. Hi, this is Joan Herman, host of Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Did you know that Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life has a free monthly digital magazine that can be read online or emailed to your inbox? Every month, nationally recognized leaders in their field provide information to educate, inspire, and motivate you. We believe in a holistic approach to life, incorporating mind, body, and spirit. Check out a copy of Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life 24/7. Visit cyacyl.com and be sure to tell your friends. Thank you for joining us today. We hope you found the show informative. At Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life, we believe that knowledge is power. Take what you've learned, apply it, and live your best life now. Remember that the information provided are the opinions of our guests and should never replace the advice of a professional who knows your personal situation. If you'd like more information, visit our website, cyacyl.com. That stands for Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. While on the site, listen to past shows on demand, read the digital magazine, and be sure to follow the show on Facebook and Twitter. Until next time, this is Joan Herman. Thanks for tuning in.